रोज सुबह ये सूरज आकर सदा सबको जगाता है, श्याम होकर लाली फैलाकर अपने घर को जाता है। हर दिन खुद को जला जला कर ये उजाला फैलाता है, अरे उसका जीना ही जीना है जो काम सभी को आता है। Okay, that is why sun is considered the first one in Navgras, because first of all it burns every day to give light to others. It is the creation and the creator itself. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the story of sun, and in the series of this planetary explanations and stories of planets, I took this in between because after a deep thought I thought that it is necessary for everyone to understand planets and their stories, so to take easy conclusions out from their horoscopes, or just to understand how to conclude from horoscopes. Okay, so talking about the sun. So how the sun is depicted? Okay, see, first of all, the sun is depicted with 7 horses. Okay, with a Sarthi, that is the charioteer, which is called Aruna, and it has 7 horses. The sun god has a shankh, a lotus, a flag in his hand. Okay, the flag is of the chariot. Otherwise, it has a shankh, the conch, a lotus. Okay, so what is shankh? Okay, shankh से क्या होता है? Shankh gives ध्वनि. Okay, and it is like a massive voice. Okay, in Hindi it is said that shankh गूंजता है, शंख बजता नहीं, शंख की गूंज होती है. Okay, the sound echoes inside the shell and then it is given out. Okay, so a shankh is a symbol that whatever you say, whatever the sun god says, will echo throughout the universe. Okay, in this case the solar system. Okay, second is lotus. Lotus is a symbol of blossom. Okay, like a creation. Anything that blossoms up is due to sun. Okay, there was a story behind that. Once upon a time, Rahu and Surya, both of them went to a rishi. Okay, and Rahu asked, even I have the energies for the survival. Okay, even if I give energies, the person would survive. Then why doesn't I be considered as equal god to sun? Okay, so the sage took a pot in his hand. Okay, and then inserted some seeds. Okay, after that he asked Rahu to give energies to the seed. Okay, so he gave his Rahu energies over there. Okay, he took another seeds. Okay, then he asked sun to give energies to the Rahu. So sun gave the energies to the seed. Okay, so both Rahu gave energy and sun gave energy to the seed. So what happened? The seed grew. Okay, even from the Rahu's energy, the seed grew. But the seed eventually gave out a plant, but the plant didn't blossom into a flower. Okay, when the sun god gave its energy, the plant sprouted, the plant got bigger, and plant had a very big and a beautiful flower. Okay, eventually after a long time, the plant of Rahu's energy had a fruit directly. Okay, it gave out a fruit, but it never gave out flower. Okay, there was no blossoming in the plant. Okay, it directly went to the result itself. Okay, So it understood that with Rahu energy, you directly go to the result. Okay, you come down to the destination without enjoying the process. Okay, that is the energy of Rahu. Okay, Rahu takes you directly and makes you a leap of jump towards the result. That is the fruit. Rahu gives the fruit directly. But what did Sun give? Sun gave a blossom. Okay, it blossomed the plant into a flower. Okay. Now that plant had a flower. After the journey of flower, the flower turned into a fruit. Okay. So what happened? The basic difference between Rahu's energy and Sun's energy is that with the Sun's energy, you are enjoying the process, because in the process you took the full process of getting brighter. Okay, you gave leaves, you got flowers. Okay, you enjoyed the process of becoming the fruit. Okay, with Rahu's energy, you got the fruit directly. Okay, you didn't enjoy the process. Getting my point? So that is the big difference between Rahu and Surya, and that is why Rahu is used to compress the energy of Surya and Surya is used to compress the energy of Rahu. Okay, so if you find in somebody's chart or in somebody's life, they are not getting fruit of their actions. Okay, that means they are having too much of sun energy inside them, which is making them burn. Okay, they are reaching to the blossom stage. Okay, after blossom stage, if their Mars is debilitated, they would have obstacles in life, because Mars is a friend of Sun and it will intensify the Sun's energy. Okay, so for such people we advise that they should wear a Rahu. Those people who quickly reach to their destination but they are not happy after getting what they want, for such people we need to advise them to go to Sun God. Okay, so this was, I just gave a difference between Sun and Rahu, right? Rahu is giving just a fruit, okay, and directly reaching to the fruit. Okay, and Sun is enjoying the process to reach to the fruit. Okay, so what was the story behind Sun? Okay, this video is for the Sun, right? So we'll go deeper in the process or knowing Sun. So in the starting of the universe, Brahma emerged, and as soon as Brahma emerged, from the tip of the left and the right thumb, Brahma gave birth to two people. Okay, from the right thumb he gave birth to Daksh. Okay, and from the left thumb he gave birth to Prastuti. Okay, they both together gave birth to 13 different children. Okay, so I am going to explain more deeper about this. Why left thumb and why right thumb? Okay, so first of all, see left thumb. What does left thumb signify? The left thumb of Brahma has books in it. Okay, Vedas. Okay, and the right thumb has a lotus, which is again nourishment, beauty. Okay, and creation. Okay. Flower also suggests softness, feminine aspect, and knowledge is something that gives the biggest ego. Okay, so it is the most masculine thing of someone, that is having knowledge and wisdom. Okay, so from the right thumb he gave birth to a masculine character Daksh, and from the left thumb he gave birth to the feminine character Prastuti. Both of them gave together 13 children. Of those 13 children, there were 2 daughters. Okay, there were also daughters, more daughters, but I am just saying that there are 2 daughters, Aditi and Diti. Okay, they both married to the sage Kashyap. Okay, now let's keep Diti aside. Right now, Aditi married to the sage Kashyap. Okay, and gave birth to the sun god. Okay, Surya no janam thiyo. So sun was basically the son of sage Kashyap and Aditi. Okay, So in the hierarchy, sun came from Brahma. Okay, Brahma's daughter married to Sage Kashyap, and Sage Kashyap and Aditi had one son, that is Surya. Okay, they also had different sons, but one son was Surya. Now this Surya was in Rig Veda, Surya is given equality to the Indra. Okay, why sun is considered equal to Indra, we will know. Okay, so what happened later? Later on, there was, I also said that there was Aditi, okay, the second daughter. She also married to the sage Kashyap, and all the sons, daughters of Ditis went to and became Asuras. Okay. She was the mother of Asuras. Okay, and Aditi was the mother of Devas. Okay, Diti was the mother of Asuras. Aditi was the mother of Devas. Now, when there was a yagna, okay, and the sacrifice from that yagna was the nectar of immortality. Okay, and apart from that yagna, there was also one yagna before it, which was about giving a place in heaven. Okay, so everyone took part in that. Aditi and their sons took part in that, which were Devas. Diti and his sons took part in them, which were Asuras. Okay, both of them took part in them in the yagna. But Lord Brahma was partial towards Aditi's son, because Aditi was the follower of Lord Vishnu. Okay, Diti was the follower of Lord Shiva. Okay, so Brahma became partial to Aditi's sons, and Brahma gave the sons of Aditi a higher place in heaven, whereas he didn't give the sacrifice after giving sacrifice in yagna. Okay, so in Yajurved, yagna is considered as sacrifice. What is the real aspect of doing yagna? Khota mantra badbad karva is not yagna. Okay, so originally yagna is something that you give your energies into the fire. Okay, and the fire will spread your energy into the universe. Now supposedly you gave 10 kilonewton of your energy into the fire, and the fire will burn, and your 10 kilonewton of energy will go into the universe by small essential etheric compounds. Okay, and those energies will flow in the universe in your behalf. So now universe has to give you 10 kilonewton of energies back. Okay, so you gave something to the universe in the name of sacrifice, that I have sacrificed my energies into fire, and fire has made the energies reward in the universe. Now what happens? The energies would come back to you. Okay, so that is the real meaning of yagna. That is why when some couple is going to get married, the pandit is supposed to pull the energies of the husband to be and the wife to be, and pull it down into the fire, and then the fire is supposed to give that energy outside, so that when they are establishing their life, the universe is bound to give them the energies that they have radiated in the yagnas. But there is no more such bright pandits who know such all the types of white magics and tantric rituals, because all these things are mentioned in the Tantra and Yajurved. Yajurved is also the white magic book. Okay, because Brahmins introduced white magic before the black magic was introduced. Okay, the black magic was introduced afterwards to cut down white magic. Okay, so before the invention of black magic, there was the invention of white magic, and white magic is made so that you can use your pran force or energy force into the world and connect to the source and universe itself. So that was the agenda of white magic. Okay, even though people now may use it for their own benefit and all those problems. So in that yagna which happened, okay, everyone gave their energies. Everyone gave their energies. Devas gave their energies, Asuras gave their energies, but Brahma was partial towards Deva and gave them a higher place in abode, that is heaven. Okay, but they were impartial, but he also didn't wanted to look impartial in the eyes of the world. Okay, so what happened is he gave a promise to the Asuras that whoever will do chanting about him and chanting about Brahma, Brahma will always give them any blessing except immortality. Getting, but ये joyous नहीं है. So what happened is Asuras felt betrayed, and because of that betrayal, what happened is they started a massive fight with Devas. But since they were right, Shiva took his side. Because they were right. Devas weren't right, but they were the necessity of this universe to be on the higher abode. Okay, so there is a difference between being right and being necessary. So those people who are always on the path of being necessaries or the necessity are born into Devgad. Okay, they are Devgad. They always receive a higher place in their materialistic world. They always receive a higher place everywhere because they are born in Devgad. But those who are born in Rakshasgad, okay, they might not be the necessary one, but they always walk on the right path. Okay, so see, it is a very controversial thing that people say that Asuras are bad and Devas are good. No. See, if you read the scriptures and mythologies very clearly, Indra, the lord of Devas, always betrayed everyone. He always made something up and he always disrespected people. He was an egoistic person. Okay. He always was an insecure person because of his throne. Okay. He always wanted his throne. But he was a necessity for this universe. Because of him, this universe is there. Okay. You need someone on the throne who is always thinking about what is necessary. That is why Indra was selected, because he does what is necessary. Okay. If the king started doing what is right, so he becomes a people pleaser. Okay. And if the king doesn't understand to do what is necessary and always does what is right, then he might not always be the king. Okay, someone else will do what is necessary and throw him out. Okay. So the mentality of doing what is necessary is something which makes you a king. No matter you have the equal strength and power to be a king or not, but they do what is necessary. The Asuras never did anything wrong, never did anything not righteous. Okay, false. They didn't try to win any battles by false means. Okay, they always did austerities and chantings and got their blessings. Okay, they always used to fight from their front. Okay, they never betrayed anyone, whereas Indra betrayed many people. Okay, so what was the difference between Asuras and Devas? Asuras are faithful. They have their head high. They will fight on their face. If they lose, they will lose on their face. But they never do wrong to sustain their throne. That is why Lord Shiva is with Asuras. Okay. And Vishnu is with Devas because they are doing what is necessary. Okay. So during the fight, after the yajna was complete, with the Devas and Asuras, the Asuras were winning the battle. Why? Because they were more powerful. They are always more powerful than Devas. The the Asuras are always more powerful than Devas. They are always on the path of righteousness. Okay, but being on the path of righteousness doesn't qualify you to become a king. To become a king, you must do what is necessary even if you are not right. And that is how you keep your place intact as a king. Okay. So, what happened? Aditi, the mother of Devas, started worshipping Vivaswan. Okay, the sun god. And Vivaswan said that after a lot of fast and chanting and all that thing, she prayed a lot that she doesn't want her sons to get betrayed. Okay. So Vivaswan got happy and asked her what you want in behalf. Okay. So she said that I want you as a child in my womb, so that when you are born, you can take the side of my children, that is Devas, and you can fight on behalf of Devas and you can defeat the Asuras. Okay, because technically Asuras are always more strengthful and powerful than Devas, and Devas have 85 out of 100 times cheated in war. Okay, if you see clearly. For that you need to see Upanishads, Purans. Okay, you can read Purans also, you can read Upanishads also. So Devas were cheaters, but Asuras were never cheaters. But Asuras always wanted to fight for a wrong reason. That is why they are always defeated. Okay, if Asuras always fought for the right reason, they would never be defeated. But just because they were fighting to get revenge, that is why the Asuras were defeated. They were always fighting for the wrong reason. Okay, and Devas in return, they fight with the wrong means. Okay, they cheat in the war. So even after they win the war, they would lose the rewards of the war. Okay, just like one time Indra lost the Amrut. Okay, so even after winning, Devas would lose the rewards. Okay, and Asuras will lose. Why would they lose? Because they are fighting for the wrong cause. Okay, so coming back, so the Vivaswan said to Aditi that my heat is very intense. If I come inside your womb, you might not survive. Okay, I have a very intenseful heat. If I get born from your womb, you might die while giving me birth. So let us do something. I would come in your womb with 1/1000 essence of me. Okay, મારી આત્માના 1000 કટકા કરીશું અને એમાંથી 1000મો જે કટકો છે ને ઈ તારી ભૂમમાં જન્મ આપીશું. So Vivaswan, the sun god, gave 1/1000th part of his essence into the womb of Aditi. Okay, and Aditi gave birth to a child whose name was later on Indra. Okay, so Indra was the child of Aditi who was made to win the war and sustain on the throne. Okay, so he was born to sustain on the throne. Okay, with 1/1000th essence of the sun god. After that, Indra took part in the the battle. He cheated, did something wrong, and they won the war. And Devas sat on the higher throne on the heaven. Asuras sat on the lower throne on the Patal. Okay, so this Patal Lok is governed by Asuras. The Dev-lok is governed by Devas, and Devas are at the higher stage. But in turn, Devas reached the higher stage by Indra cheating in the war. So what happened in return? Diti, the mother of Asuras, started worshipping Shiva. She impressed Shiva and asked him that this is again Pakspat, that is biasness. Okay, it is biased that even though my sons are qualified, having more strength than Devas, they are still down. So Shiva explained her, look, there is always something less in someone. Your son might be having more strength, more courage, more ability, more capability, more capacity, but they don't have the power of choice. They always choose the wrong battle. They always choose the wrong means of battle. They always choose a wrong method to fight. Okay, and a reason to fight. Okay, so they are wrong in their selection process. Okay, so they need to purify their selection process in order to take birth as a deva, and then as a deva they can rule the heaven. Okay, so the asuras take part in the birth death cycle in order to clear their mindset and get a mindset of deva. Okay, but when they are born as deva, they would do a mistake of Lord Vishnu. Okay, so what does Lord Vishnu say? What does Lord Vishnu made a mistake? Okay, why is he being born here again and again? Okay, if you see, Lord Vishnu did a mistake with the wife, or let's say a girl, Tulsi. That is why Tulsi is worshipped before Vishnu. Okay. And Tulsi cursed Vishnu that you would have to take birth over here on this earth, okay, and take pain of a human being. Okay. So what mistake does Deva do? The Deva does always do what is necessary, but they don't do what is right. Okay. Sometimes they have to do what is wrong in order to do what is necessary, and that becomes a false karma in the eyes of Chitragupta. So that is why Chitragupta sends them back into the world to live as Asur. Okay, now you live as Asur and understand what is right and wrong and learn what is right and wrong. When they understand what is right and wrong, they become a good Asur. But then Shiva asks them that now you understood what is right and wrong. So now go take a birth as a Dev and understand what is necessary and unnecessary. Okay. So the soul cycles over here. So, and another thing this makes a trouble is that people over here fight in the name of Shiva and Vishnu, but both of them are friends. Okay, because the same soul is cycled over here back. The Shiva sends the soul to Vishnu. Vishnu sends the soul to Shiva. Okay, so if you are born as a Rakshasgana, you are here to learn to do what is necessary, because you already know what doing is right and wrong. You are always doing right, but you are not doing what is necessary. That is why you are born as a Rakshasgana. Okay, and then if you are born with a Devgana, you are here to learn what is right, because you always know what is necessary in life. Okay, so your soul is going to go here and there. In one life, if you are a Devgana, you are here to learn a lesson of necessity. If you are a Rakshasgana, you are over here to learn a lesson of righteousness. Okay, and if you are a Manavgana, which is on the in between, okay, that means you are just born and you are yet to decide the choice. Your soul is incapable to make a choice and go ahead. That is why Manavgana are something which are more affected by Saturn, because Saturn is asking them to do actions. Okay, so if you do action, only then you can know are you on this side or this side. Okay, so this was the cycle, just explaining you. But coming back to the sun god, okay, so this is how the sun god gave birth of 1,000th essence and gave birth to Indra, and Indra won the war and he reached the higher place. That is why sun god is considered equal to the Indra. Okay. Now afterwards, sun god had a wife, Samudagya. Okay, and they had like 2 to 3 children. 3 children, I guess. One was Yam, another was Yami, and one was Vivatswan. Okay, one son was Vivatswan, another son was Yam, the lord of that, and third was Yami. Okay. Now, after giving birth to 3 children, okay, but because of the sun's intense heat, okay, son's wife could not handle that intense heat. Okay, she was like, dude, you are so hot. Okay, and he was really that much hot that her wife could not handle him. Okay, that's why her wife went into penance. Okay, austerity. Okay, and she wanted to go into sannyas. And just because the sun god would not feel bad or wouldn't know it, she left her another twin, Chaya, over there. So Chaya was the shadow of Samudra. Okay, and she was left to the sun god or the Surya Dev. Now what happened? Now after that, Chaya gave birth to 3 children. One was Shani, second was, and other 2 were daughter. Okay, and one was Viyati and another daughter was Duditi or something like that. Okay, Duditi, I guess. Dudati or Duditi. Okay. So one was Shani, another was Dudati, and third was Viyati. Okay. Now, while raising the children, Chaya gave more preference to Shani. Okay, but Chaya didn't give more preference to the children of Samugya, that is Yam, Yami and Vivatswan. Okay, so Yam thought that this is something wrong. Golmaal hai, bhai sab golmaal hai. Okay, so Yam understood that there is something wrong over here. Okay, why is my mother giving more love and affection to 3 children, and she is not giving love and affection to V3? So Yam tried to make her mother hyper. Okay, so he did something which she didn't used to like, and in turn Chaya cursed Yam. Okay, and after that curse, Yam and Surya both realized that this is not the mother, because a mother cannot curse her own children. Okay, so Chaya cursed Yamraj. Okay, and that is how the sun god realized that this is not my real mother, or the sun gods realized that this is not my real wife, and Yam realized that this is not my real mother. Okay, then everything came out, and Chaya said that okay, I am the shadow of Samugya, and she went into the penance and she wanted to become a sannyasi because you were too hot for her and everything like that. Okay, so sun went, found Samugya and came back. Okay, so in this all process, sun god became angry on Chaya. Okay, he didn't treat her very well, and he like, it is somewhere in some verses I read somewhere, it is written that he slapped her, or in some verses it is written that he gave some bad curses and called her a bad, used some bad words or something like that. Okay, so he didn't treated Chaya well after knowing this. Okay, and just because of that, the son of Chaya, that is Shani, he cursed sun that you fell out of the solar system. Okay, or he cursed something like that. Okay, so just because he was right on his own way, okay, and he never did anything wrong, Okay, that's why he became the Lord of Justice. Okay, Shanidev. Because he never did anything wrong. It was the situation in which he was born that he was considered a wrong child. He was never a wrong. He never did a single wrong thing in his life. So Shani became the Lord of Justice. Okay, and that is why the Lord of Justice, because he punished his own father. After that, Lord Brahma and everyone came and asked Shanidev, and he said that okay, you might forgive your father, and everything got okay. Son was given back his place, and Shani said that I will always be far away from him. So Shani is taken the farthest place in the solar system, that is the farthest place. Okay, and every 7.5 years he would cross and come to punish all those people who follow the sun. Okay, and are like sun. All those people who try to be on authority, leadership. Okay, so what does sun identify? See, the first thing sun is considered is victory, because the main reason why sun god was born was to make devas win over the asuras. So sun is the indicator of victory over enemies. Second, authority and power. What happened after the war is giving devas the authority. Third, leadership. Because in the battle there was no quality leadership over there. That is why the devas were falling off. Okay, so leadership. Fourth, courage and ego. Okay, both together. Because with the authority comes ego. Okay, so sun is also the significator of ego. If the sun is in the wrong place, your ego will become very much higher. If the sun is in right place, the ego will become self-respect and stay with you. But if it is in the wrong place, you will be throwing your self-respect on people, and that is ego. Okay. See, there is a slight difference between ego and self-respect. When you keep self-respect to yourself, it is self-respect and it is good. It generates esteem. Okay. But when you throw your self-respect on someone else, okay, that you bloody hell respect me, that is your ego. Okay, that becomes ego. If that person doesn't respect you, let go of that person. That is your self-esteem. Getting my point? So, if your sun is sitting in the right place, you will be having all these characteristics in you. If your sun is not sitting in the right place or with right people, then there would be some afflicting features of these things inside you, okay, or these characteristics inside you, the characteristics of sun. The second thing which we learn from his stories is the wife of sun is unhappy because of sun's heat. Okay. So there are slight chances that your spouse, if your sun is very high, your spouse is not flattered because of you. Okay, the spouse will always be in your authority, do whatever you say, but that flatteredness will not come if your sun is very high. Okay, because of your authoritative nature, because you have a grip over people around you, your vibes would encircle people around you. Okay, so that is what would create a difference. The next thing what you can understand is, see, in one more story, while in Amrit Manthan, okay, sun and moon both spoke something which they shouldn't speak. Like in the story of Amrit Manthan, the Indra, after becoming the Lord of Heaven, he fought with Bali, the Lord of Asuras, and Bali took victory over Indra. As you know, Asuras are more powerful, but Devas are more smart. Okay. So Asuras, the Bali took Indra and took the nectar of immortality from him. Okay, Amrut લઈ લીધો એની પાસે. And while they were fighting, Indra used his smartness and his wrong techniques of war, so he won the war, but the Amrit fell inside the ocean. Okay. So what happened after it was, after the Amrit fell inside the ocean, everybody went to Shiva, like, dude, we were wrong. We can't find a way. You are our troubleshooter. Please guide us. So Shiva said that okay, there is a Parvat. Lord Vishnu will take an avatar of Manu, that is a tortoise. You would keep a tortoise down, a Parvat on it, and you will churn the oceans with the help of a serpent. Okay. And while you churn the oceans, things would erupt out from it, and after erupting many different things, Amrit would come last. Okay. So after there many things came out. Okay, Lakshmi Devi came out from it. Okay, salt came out from it. Then horses came out from it. Okay, then Airavat came out from it, a hathi. Okay, then poison came out from it. That poison was drank by Lord Shiva himself. At last, Amrit came out. Okay. So after this, in this Amrit Manthan also, the Devas, what did sun god do? After the Amrit Manthan, there was a Asur, Swarnabhanu. Swarnabhanu took place among Devas while the Amrit was being served to Devas. Okay, and he drank the Amrit. And sun god realized that he is not a Deva, he is an Asur. By watching the Tilak. Okay. So what happened is, Vishnu in the avatar of Mohini cut down Swarnabhanu into two parts. It is Rahu and Ketu. Okay. Gudethi Kapine. He cut down the two parts. Swarnabhanu of two parts. But Swarnabhanu drank the nectar. So what happened is, now he is alive with two different nodes. Rahu is working about something else, Ketu is doing something else. And they are not connected. Okay. So this is what becomes when a Rakshas gun is given Amrit or knows the essence of Amrit Sanjeevani. His throat chakra becomes troublesome for him. Okay, his throat chakra gets out of all the energies. His Rahu is wandering somewhere else, his Ketu is wandering somewhere else. Means the body is doing something, the mind is thinking something. Okay, if a Rakshas gun is having that ability or the knowledge of Sanjeevani. So what we understand from this is, after this happened, Rahu and Ketu went to again Lord Shiva and said, why would this sun and moon interfere in me? I was always going to get my nectar. Why should they interfere? Why did they spoke? Okay. If they always wanted to give me nectar, why did they speak? So Shiva said, okay, it was also your impatience. You are impatient. That's why you did this thing. Otherwise, you are always going to get the nectar. Now you are not getting the nectar, and your whole generation is not getting the nectar because of your impatience. ધીરજ નથી ધરાવવા. તે આ જન્મમાં તને નહીં તો બીજા જન્મમાં જ્યારે તું ફરી ફરીને આ જન્મ લે ને ત્યારે તને નેક્ટર મળવાનું જ હતું. અરે આ જન્મમાં નેક્ટર લેવું તું, તારામાં ધીરજ નહોતી. Okay, just like I explained the cycle. Swarnabhanu was supposed to get a different birth in the next birth as a Deva, and then they were going to get nectar. But he was very impatient. He wanted the nectar in this birth itself. So what happened is, he was cut down by Vishnu. And Shiva also told Surya and Chandra that, why did you speak? He was always going to get nectar. What was Why? What was your reason? Why did you have to speak? Okay. So Rahu and Ketu were given a boon that every time they would run behind sun and moon, and every time, 2 times a year, they would be able to hide the radiation of sun and moon to the earth. And on that particular time, Rahu and Ketu would give its energy. Okay. So when eclipse takes place, remember what I said about Rahu's energy and Sun's energy. Rahu's energy is more at the time of eclipse. So you are getting more of the energy of fruit. You will become a fruit faster. You will get to the fruit faster. You will be more destiny oriented. You will not enjoy the process. You will skip 10 steps and again reach over ahead. Okay. In the process, you didn't get the experience. Okay. So during the eclipse, the sun's energy is down and the Rahu's energy is high. That is when the fruit is come. That is why it is advised by the devas that you don't have to see the eclipse and don't have to see the energy of sun. That's why it is called Surya Grahan. Rahu e Surya ne Grahan kiya. Rahu ate the energies of sun. Grahan is eating. Rahu ate the energies of sun. That is Surya Grahan. Ketu ate the energies of moon. That is Chandra Grahan. Getting my point? So, first of all, you need to understand that there is a lot of politics in our Vedic scriptures also. Okay, a lot of politics. Okay, I will openly speak about it because just because of this politics, people are getting confused. I myself got confused like for a year and a half. Because see, first of all, these Vedas, the 3 Vedas are more written by the worshippers of Vishnu, and the 4th Veda is more written as a worshipper of Shiva. And all these Vedas are explained and given by Brahma. Brahma is always biased to Vishnu. So what happens is, if you follow strictly all the Vedas, you will be more oriented towards Vishnu. And you will lose the essence of doing right and wrong to do the essence of doing what is necessary in your life. Okay, so it is necessary to sometimes contradict the scriptures. Because, okay, we don't have to be the part of Vedic espionage. Okay, you don't have to be a part of. Why would you participate in the politics of Devas and Asuras? Why would you participate in the politics of Aditi and Didi? Why would you participate in the politics of necessary and rightfulness? Why can't you be in the middle? Okay, do what is necessary sometimes and do what is right sometimes. This is what is taught by Narad. Okay, Narad Muni is a very much intellectual person, because Narad had a friendship with everyone. The bad people, the good people, the smart people, the dumb people. Okay. So, let's not talk about this. So, we were on the sun god's side. Okay. So, after understanding the Amrit month story, what did we understood? We understood that if a higher sun is there, you speak things which you shouldn't have been spoken at wrong time and at wrong instances. खोटा time में खोटी वस्तु बोलवी. That is again a sign of a higher sun. Okay. And a debilitated sun. Okay. So if you have a higher sun, debilitated sun, you always need to be careful about what you are speaking. Okay, you shouldn't use harsh words, okay, or you should use diplomatic words to just make people understand that what is the truth. You always have to be right, but you always have to be necessary. Okay. You can't go in the king's court and say the king that 10 bad words, okay, in front of his army. That is a wrong place to speak things. Okay, even though he is a bad person, you can't go in the court of the king and then call him a this or that, okay, blah blah blah. So that is something that is very wrong. So a debilitated sun would always give you something that you would speak wrong things at wrong time. Even though you are speaking truth, but you will speak the truth at the wrong time, wrong place. સાચું બોલવાની જરૂર જ. See, if your son is very good at a higher position, you are always a truthful person. But the problem is, if on the higher position, if the son is not exalted or in a good situation with good people around them or good planets or in a good zodiac, you would speak the truth, but that truth you would speak at wrong time and wrong places, and that would bring you trouble in your life. Okay, and if your son is disempowered by Rahu, or it is suppressed by any another planet, then you would have a tendency to speak lies. Okay, especially if Saturn is there with Sun, you are a very great liar. Okay, especially if Sun is not in a bad place, and Sun is in the bad place, and Saturn is also not in a very good place. At that time, the person is definitely a liar. But if Saturn is in a good place, Sun is in a bad place, the person lies for their benefits. Otherwise, they are truthful. You must have to calculate 2-3 different things, okay, in order to get a right prediction. But just in the case of understanding the sun gives the ability to be righteous and truth. Okay, sun gives the ability to say the truth, to speak truth out always. Okay, the higher your sun, the higher you will have the likeness or love towards truth. Okay, but if that high position is not good for the sun, that high position is in a bad zodiac, then you will see truth at wrong places, wrong time. Okay, so that is again an indication of sun. What else? In Shiv Purana also there is a story of sun. See, sun is also the significator of purity. Sun is pure because it always burns. સૂર્ય બળે રાખે છે એટલે હંમેશા પવિત્ર છે. Okay. So there is also a story behind it. When the first child of Shiva was born, or I would say the only child of Shiva. Okay. This is also a controversial topic, because if you see in deep scriptures, it is said that there is one child of Shiva, that is Kartikeya, 2 other children, that is Ganesh and Ashok Sundari. Both were born in some different instances. Okay, one was born from a pot, another was born from some mud or sand statue. Okay, the story of Ganesh is that he was born from a statue. Okay, and similarly there is another story about the daughter of Shiva. But the real son, there is only one children of Shiva, that is Kartikeya. Other 2 are children. He always gives same equality to them, but they were born in different instances. Okay, and in different ways. I am talking about the biological son. The biological son is just Kartikeya. Okay, and that too, he had a very controversial birth. We are not talking about that right now. But okay, at the time of Kartikeya's birth, the sun god ran away with the Kartikeya. Okay, he ran away, taking him away from his mother, the ferocious Parvati. I am saying ferocious because the anger of Parvati is more harsh than the anger of Shiva. It is always depicted that the Shiva is the angry lord, and who is the destroyer, and rage and everything is depicted in the name of Shiva. But Shiva is always a feminine person. Okay, he always gives boons to people. Okay, emotionally he is the most feminine and soft god of this Hindu. Even though he has this Trishul saint destroyer, he has all this power to destroy anyone. Okay, he is the third eye, but he is the very soft-hearted God. Whereas Parvati is ferocious. Okay, his wife is like full of fire. Okay. So what happened is Parvati caused son, and you took away my child, and you are burning from the heat of my child, and you are burning from the anger of my angry vibes. So you and everyone born on Sunday will have a dark complexion. Okay, a black skin. Okay. So he again went to Lord Shiva and said, "Oh, I got this curse, please help me." And Shiva, being the soft-hearted God, said, "Okay, see, I can't take away the curse of my wife. But yes, I can give you a blessing that everyone born on Sunday may be dark in complexion, may have to burn their entire life. Okay, like they have to burn to give others light in their life. Okay, they may have to burn, but their soul will always remain pure until they die. Okay, so Shiva gave a boon or a blessing to the sun that anyone who is born on Sunday will have a purest soul, and the soul will always remain pure till the end of their life. Okay, so with one blessing comes with a curse. So another thing is sun is the significator of purity. So wherever sun is sitting in your astrology, in whichever house it is sitting, it is considered to purify the entire house. If your sun is sitting in first house, it is going to purify your body. If it is sitting in the second house, it is going to purify your money, your Lakshmi. Third house, your support system, your siblings. Okay. Similarly, all different houses, and sun is going to purify the house and the planets it is sitting with in the first half of the life. At the second half of the life, it is said that it is going to purify the opposite house. Okay. So, if sun is sitting in the fourth house in your D1 chart, it is going to purify your family and all the planets sitting in the fourth house till your half-life. After your half-life, the sun will shift towards the opposite house, that is on the 10th house. And sun is going to purify your social circle, your friends, okay, and all the planets sitting in the 10th house. So sun is also the significator of purification. Wherever it is sitting, it is going to purify things over there. You may have to burn over there because everything which is need to be purified is purified after a process of burning. Okay, and that burning comes from tapa. Tapa is heat, and heat is gharshan. Gharshan comes from sangharsh, and from sangharsh, if you want to get purified, then you will have to go towards tolerance and compromise. Okay, because when you tolerate something, you જ્યારે તમે કોઈ વસ્તુને સહન કરો છો જીવનમાં, that power of tolerance creates a friction inside your soul. That friction creates heat. That heat purifies your soul, and that purification, the process of purification, is called tapa. Okay, which is getting your soul heated up and cleaning all the ill things inside your soul in that aspect. Okay, tap is not like Om Brahma Vedama, Om Brahma Vedama, Om Brahma Vedama, Om Brahma. This is not tap. Okay, so tapa, as the name suggests, is clearing your soul by the process of purification, and that purification is taking place when you tolerate things in your life. With tolerance comes struggle, that is sangharsh. તમે સંઘર્ષ કરશો ને, સહનશીલ રહેશો ને, તો એ બે વસ્તુ તમારા લાઈફમાં ઘર્ષણ થશે, દેટ ઇઝ ફ્રિક્શન. ધીસ ફ્રિક્શન would give you the power of purifying yourself, and this power of purifying yourself would clean your soul away. Okay, so this is also which is governed by sun. So this was the story of sun from Shiv Puran. Okay, now what else, what Upanishad will take, what Puran will take? Let's take Ramayana. Okay, Ramayana, let's come to Ramayana. So another aspect of sun is from Ramayana. See, it is said that Lord Ram was Suryavanshi. Okay, that is why it is like Pran Jai par Vachan na Jai. Okay, he always used to be on his words. Okay, the entire generation or Kul was focused on being truthful. Okay, so what is Suryavanshi? First of all, there is also a remedy. See, if you want to increase your Surya, if your Surya is sitting in a good place and you want to increase the Surya, then you have to wake up before sun. And what will it happen? That when sun comes, you are already there. Okay, so you are walking with the sun. Come on, let's go. Today I will live my life with you. Okay, so when the sun comes, you are already neat, tidy, got up ready, and like, yo dude, let's live the life. Let's live life together. You say, I'll give you the authority of my life. Okay, and that is how you walk with the sun. Okay, when your sun is good. When your sun is bad, I would give a remedy that wake up after the sun. Why? Because sun is not taking you to the right direction. So you don't have to ask sun. If you go towards sun and ask sun, then yo dude, come on, tell me what to do, and sun is not happy with you, he is not going to guide you, because sun is authority and sun is masculine ego. He would have a very much ego. So what you have to do, you have to let the sun go ahead. તો આગળ જા ભાઈ, હું ફોલો કરીશ તને, તને હું નથી ગમતો ને, I will learn things from you. Please go ahead, I will follow you, and in the process of following you, I will learn something. Okay, so all those people who are having a bad sun, they have to wake up after sunrise. Waking up after sunrise, they live a day like they follow the sun. Okay, okay, you take me anywhere, I will follow you, I will see, I will take experiences in life, I will get encouraged and I will improve in life. Okay, so that is what is waking up after the sun. If you wake up before the sun, you are saying hi to the sun. Hi. Okay, you don't have to say hi to your sun if your sun is very bad. You have to sit down and just follow the sun if your sun is bad. If your sun is good, you have to say hi. Okay, so what happened is, see, if you see the story of Ram took birth over here in order to clear the depths of Tulsi. Right, he got a curse that you have to take birth over here. That is why he had to take birth over here. Okay, so all those people, so that is why he took birth over here. That is why his sun was not good, and in order to purify the sun, he always woke after the sunrise. Okay, so Ramayana teaches us that if your sun is bad, wake up after the sunrise. Okay, the next thing is, what next we can understand is, see, similarly in let's say Mahabharata. Okay, in Mahabharata, see, now after clearing all the depths, Ram again took birth, second birth as Krishna. In the previous birth of Ram, he never did anything wrong. Okay, so in the next birth, his son was very good. He got a massive, he got whatever he wanted. And if you see in the birth of Ram didn't get anything what he wanted. Okay, first he wanted to live with his father. He couldn't live with his father. His father loved him too much. He loved with his father too much. Then also his father died when he wasn't there. He couldn't be with his father when he was dying. Then after marrying Sita, he wanted to live with Sita. Again, 14-year Vanvas. In 14-year Vanvas also Sita tried to come with them. But again you see, Ravan took her. He couldn't live with Sita. After that, they came back. Then again, just for saving the impression of the respect of his pool and everything, he had to leave Sita away into the forest because a person blamed Sita something. Okay, so he again couldn't live with Sita. So see the birth of Ram. He couldn't enjoy what he wanted. Okay, there was no authority of him in his life. In entire Ramayana, Lord Ram never threw his authority that do this, do that. Okay, he was like, okay, I will do this. Okay, I will do this. Always, I will do this. Okay, he was doing karma. He wasn't being karta because his son was bad. So in that birth, it was necessary for him to just follow. He can't be on the authority on that birth. He had to clear the debt of the son over there. And after clearing the debt of son, okay, and always following the destiny and never challenging the destiny, he took birth as Krishna. What did Krishna do? Krishna challenged everything. Okay, Krishna challenged everything, and Krishna always said, I will do what I want. And there is always a way to do what you want. And in his entire life, everything was decided and in authority of Krishna. Even though his elder brother Balram was there, okay, still it was Krishna who was handling everything. He had the authority on everything, like he had the authority on the universe itself. Okay, so even in the Mahabharata fight, he didn't take any of the weapons, and still he won. Because son was on his side. In the last birth, the whole life he followed the sun. He woke up after the sun, called Suryavanshi, and followed the sun. Okay, I will do what you say, I will do what you say. In the whole life itself, he followed sun, he gave up the authority. Okay, and he followed whatever was there in the destiny. He cleared the debt of the sun. After that, he took the birth as Krishna. Okay, in that what he did, he had all the authority. મારે જે કરવું છે હું કરીશ ને કરીને રહીશ, પછી હું એકલો બાજતો હોઈશ ને તોય હાલશે. And that was the case. Okay, so if you read Mahabharata and the life of Krishna very well, he always used to wake up before sunrise and used to worship at Nageshwar. After worshipping at Nageshwar, he used to go to Dwarka and sit on the throne. Okay, so see, in the Krishna's birth, the sun was very good in the chart of Krishna. That is why he used to wake up before sunrise, worship Shiva at Nageshwar, and then come. In the Ram's birth, he took birth in Suryavanshi kingdom. They always wake up after sunrise. Okay, because the sun over there was bad because of the curse of Tulsi. He cleared the curse of Tulsi. And what else you see? Ram had to live away from the wife. Okay. In opposite birth, he had 16,000 wives. Okay. So you just don't read scriptures anywhere, however, okay. You also need an art of comparison. Okay. See what was the comparison, what happened in this life, what happened in the next life. Okay. And what was the connection, what was missing in the life of Lord Ram was happening in the life of Lord Krishna. What wrong he did, he always did better in the life of Krishna. So sun here also signifies that if the sun is good, you have to wake with the sun and walk with the sun. If the sun is bad, you have to walk, let the sun go ahead, by tu આગળ જા, હું તને follow કરીશ. Okay, getting my point. So, sun is again about purity, and other thing is about guidance. If your sun is bad, don't throw your authority on people. If your son is good, you know how to tackle people and take authority from people. So you are good in taking authority. But if you use that authority in a wrong way, in the next birth your son is always going to get bad. So this was son, and if I am again talking about the son, I would keep on go ahead and ahead, and I don't think like we have so much of time to just talk on son and son. If we take any more examples of son, we would go in Chand Yoga Upanishad. No, Chand Yoga Upanishad is again of Krishna's school, right? Let's go in Atharva Veda and see the medical astrology behind sun. Okay, so that is something remaining. So what is sun giving? Sun is giving you higher thermal vibes. Okay, it is also increasing the acidic level in the body. Okay, who is the friend of sun? The friend of sun is Jupiter. The first friend of sun is Jupiter. Sun signifies your head because it is radiating a lot of energy. Okay, and Jupiter is your stomach, which is creating mechanical energy. Okay, so the mechanical energy created inside your stomach is something which is utilized in your brain, which is the sun, the prefrontal cortex. Okay, so what is happening? That's why it is said that Jehu khao vichar. What you eat is how you think. Okay, because Jupiter is the best friend of sun. If your thoughts are not good because you are not eating good food, તમારા વિચાર ત્યારે જ બગડે જ્યારે તમે ખરાબ ખાધો. That is why it is said કોઈનું ખવાય નહીં. તમે એનું ખાઓ ને તો એના વિચાર આવે. સારા માણસોનું ખવાય તો એના વિચાર આવે. ખરાબ માણસોનું ન ખવાય. Okay. So Jupiter is the friend of sun, and technically if you see astrophysically, the planet Jupiter pulls 70% of the sun's heat inside it, and that is why it expands. Okay, and just because sun 70 or 75% of heat is pulled by Jupiter, the earth survives with the 30% of heat. If there was no Jupiter, the earth would be burning. જેટલી ગરમી સૂર્ય નાખે છે ને એની 70% જુપિટર ચૂસી લે છે, ત્યારે 30% ગરમીથી જીવન હાલે છે. જો જુપિટર ન હોત ને તો 100% એનર્જી જો અર્થને ખાવી પડે ને અર્થ બળી જાય, બધું પાણી ઇવોપરેટ થઈ જાય. ઓકે, સો જુપિટર pulls 70% of the sun's heat, and that is why you are living. Getting my point? So sun signifies your pH level inside the stomach, your overall thermal vibe, that how warm your body is, and these two combined signifies the fat of your body. Okay, if your sun is very hot and your Jupiter is also very acidic, your body is going to remain thermally very in a pH level of acid, and it is going to remain slim, and that is why you would remain slim, because there is no fat would not preserve the body. If sun is sitting with either Saturn or moon or something is afflicting sun, so your pH level will go down to the basic level. Okay, at this stage your body can attain more fat than usual and you will become fatty. Okay, so technically the tasir of Pith and Agni is governed by sun. If you see sun and Jupiter together, you can identify the tasir of Pith. If you just see the sun, you understand the tasir of Agni. With the sun's position, you can see whether which medicines or which Ayurvedic herbs is good for your body and which is not good. If sun is in a good state, you can add things like all the spicy herbs and warm herbs like cardamom, pepper. Okay, all these things. If your sun is bad, you should avoid that things. Cut down those things in your diet. Okay, that will nullify the effect of your sun. Okay, so we can also know things from Ayurvedic point of view, which are good for your body and which are not good for your body. But that is again a deeper study, and it would take hours and hours if we are going to talk about medical astrology with me. But let's not talk about medical astrology over here. So this was it. This was the Sun Lord, or the first graha, that is Sun. And I think it's long time. We talked 1 hour just to discuss Sun over here. And tomorrow we are coming back with the second Navagraha, which is Moon. Okay, tomorrow we are going to talk about Moon and somewhat Jupiter, but majorly Moon. So this was a very nice session. Thank you God, thank you everyone for being with me, and let's hope that we increase our knowledge day by day, and keep joining. If any doubt, if you want to have any kind of astrological consulting, get into the comment zone or just comment. I'll always be there. Thank you very much, and we'll meet again soon on the second part of the Navagrahas, that is for the Moon Lord. Thank you very much.